What's the situation in Haiti now? That's a little bit different situation than, say, Nicaragua was.
Well, Haiti is another example of 1990s operations. Aristide, you know, elected with 2/3 of the vote in 1990, takes office in early 1991. He's thrown out in September. And there's strong evidence that the CIA was pushing this. Because Aristide is not the sort of man they are comfortable dealing with, you know.
No, he wants to elevate the level of the common people, ordinary people, just like in Nicaragua.
Exactly. He comes from liberation theology, and that's always made the United States quite nervous.
Yes.
Because in 1968 at the Medellin Bishops' Conference, you know, they made this what they called a preferential option for the poor. And that was a historical turning point for the Catholic Church in Latin America. I mean, they'd already been doing very good things, certain people, you know, some of the Jesuits, some of the others, and also doing awful things, like in the past, associating themselves with the oligarchies and so forth. But 68, and this decision by the Bishops' Conference was really a major event. And the liberation theology moved forward very fast after that through the Christian-based communities, you know, that they established all over Latin America. And these people were dedicated to achieving social justice, one way or another. And Aristide comes from that tradition. So anything like that makes people nervous because it means instability. And I remember so well, all those years I was down there working with the CIA in Latin America, if there was one thing we wanted and was our goal was stability. And just as important, I guess you could say the second one is control. Mm-hmm. And that's not possible when you get a movement which is clamoring for reform, and Aristide was trying to help the poor of Haiti and reorganize the society. That was his program, along the lines of social justice and so forth. And so when that happens, it makes the United States very nervous, and they couldn't have him. And so they had to ask the generals to take over. And not only did they ask them to take over, but there's any number of reports, and I believe them, that the CIA was paying these generals running the military dictatorship over that 3-year period that killed 4,000 or 5,000 people. And I don't know if you've been following Alan Nairn's reporting in The Nation on Haiti, but he's doing just wonderful work. He broke the story that Emmanuel Toto Constant, who had been teaching on liberation theology in the National Intelligence Service, known as SIN, which the CIA established in 86 or 87 as a national service to be used against the narcotics trade coming through Haiti and the Caribbean and that area, which in fact turned into a narcotics dealing organization, as they always do, or often do. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they'd set up SIN, and Toto was teaching on liberation theology in sin. How bad it was, naturally. It was sinful. And so he then is asked by the CIA and the DIA, who are working together there.
That's the Defense Intelligence.
Yes, that's right. After the coup, to form let's say, a militant action force to balance the forces of Lavalas. That's the Aristide political movement. And so they form the Front for Progress of Haiti or something like that. It's known as FRAP. You know, F-R-A-P-H, yeah, FRAP, yeah. And so anyway, he organizes this thing, and the CIA pays him to do it. And he's on payroll, they're paying the expenses, and meanwhile these people are killing thousands of Haitians, all on Aristide's side, naturally. And it was just as dirty as you can imagine. And there we were behind this. And this is covert action of the 1990s. I mean, it's not like rigging an election or something. It's worse than that in terms of human cost. And all this has come out thanks to the digging of Alan Nairn and the publication of his findings in The Nation magazine. So Haiti is one of those countries which the United States, you know, it's like the rotten apple theory, you know. Noam Chomsky talks about this all the time, you know. If you get one rotten apple in the barrel, you know, it's going to spread to all the others. And so that's why they can't even allow a Haiti, as miserable as the country is, terrible, to reorganize for social justice. It's just, well, another eternal shame on the United States, I guess. But now that Aristide is back in, they're probably doing everything they can to defeat his forces, and it's not working, because in the elections that just were held, his party or his organization won the parliament going away. They are in control of parliament now, and there will be a presidential election coming up, perhaps. Nobody seems to know, because there's a possibility that he might take his extra 3 years, you know, and stay on. No, the decision hasn't been made yet. But I think the CIA is going to stay in there in Haiti. They're going to stay in Mexico. They're going to do what they always did. Communism never really was the problem, you know.
No.
It was never the problem in Cuba. It did become a problem when the United States, the Eisenhower administration, decided to overthrow the revolution and turn the clock back to the Batista days. It did become a problem because then the Soviets got in there. They got a base, and they got troops and missile crisis and all that. But that was in reaction. That was all in reaction to the United States' aggression towards Cuba.
And are installing missiles all over the world aimed at the Soviet Union.
So I think that in the 1990s and beyond, we are going to see a lot more of this stuff that we've known in the past. And one of the main reasons is that the United States is imposing this so-called neoliberal economic project. And that is also goes under different names like free market and so forth. But it results without fail, and it's imposed by the IMF, you know, and by the United States bilaterally, and World Bank and all of these organizations, WTO, World Trade Organization now. And it is imposed, and it means in every single case the marginalization of a great mass of the society in a foreign country. These are, could be 10, 20, 40% of the population who are redundant. They're not needed, they're superfluous, because the industry that develops and all the economic development leaves these people aside, just like that is happening now in the United States, and is one of the reasons why the extreme right movement in the United States is growing so fast. But that means that there's going to be resistance. And there will be people out there organizing, like the Zapatistas, for example, and others in Mexico, organizing to resist. And that means that there's a role for the CIA, just like there was when guerrillas were operating in Bolivia or wherever. There's a role for the CIA to collect intelligence on them, to penetrate them, divide, weaken, and destroy these forces. And so we're going to see this, I think, just like in the past. The communist menace was a bogey anyway in Latin America and lots of other places. And just look at what has happened with the communist countries. Take China, big trading partner now. Vietnam, they're getting in there to try to tap that 78 million person market. And they'll be doing it eventually with Cuba. But Cuba is special. They don't want to lose the idea of control in Cuba. And you have these Cuban exiles here, the Jorge Masas of the day, who want to go in there and run the country. Take the Burger King and the McDonald's franchises.